Is somebody in my house?
There's somebody in this room. There's a dead man behind my sofa.
There is a certain kind of actress you've definitely seen before. Not once, not twice, dozens of times, in films, in period dramas, in detective stories. Always precise, always believable, never wasted. And yet, if you ask her name, chances are you hesitate. You see the face, you remember the voice, you might even recall a specific scene, but the name doesn't come. That actress is Anna Massey, and her career raises a strange question. How do you become indispensable to British cinema while remaining almost completely invisible?
How did this happen?
I don't know.
You're very calm.
When you saw what I saw in the Great War, Lieutenant Race, you know a dead man is not something to be scared of.
Anna Massey had one of the most recognizable faces in British television, but not in the way we usually think about recognition. She wasn't glamorous in the conventional sense. She didn't dominate the screen, and she didn't arrive with that immediate look-at-me presence casting directors often chase. What she had instead was something quieter: accuracy. She felt exactly right in almost every role she played. Not exaggerated, not simplified, just correct. The tone, the rhythm, the emotional weight, everything set exactly where it should. And that created a very specific effect. You see her and you immediately believe the world you are watching, which should be the highest compliment an actor can receive, which is precisely why she kept getting cast. But in practice, it comes with a problem. That is why she was rarely the lead.
Whatever the risk, whatever happens, I know what I must do.
This gets us back to the acting phenomenon I talked a lot here on my channel, specifically in the videos about female actresses, specifically the ones who in their later careers starred as Miss Marple. That was their unusual and peculiar typecasting, not popular in cinema in the mid-20th century. Take Margaret Rutherford. She wasn't allowed to play romantic heroines or, God forbid, starlets. Her non-starred eyes, looks, spaniel jowls and bulky frame, as they put it, left little room for maneuver. Funny parts, comedy genre, that was her pathway.
Sometimes I wish I'd let Paramount bully me into that nose job after all.
You lose that.
I know, and I lose my unique stage presence. Well, I'd like a unique presence and a decent nose, like Jean. She's got a super nose. Doesn't matter she's such a hopeless actress.
Or remember Joan Hickson. She too was cursed to appear mostly in West End comedies, often taking on the role of a slightly batty aunt or a befuddled middle-aged woman, characters with names like Mrs. Pottle or Mrs. Mould. These were the times, and the actress meekly bowed to this fate of being a character actor, not a star. A woman with an elfin face and baby voice. She played an enormous range of parts, worked together with iconic directors, and shared the scene with the most accomplished actors of her epoch. Sounds like Massey, right? Though this was the passage from my video about Geraldine McEwan, another controversial Miss Marple who, I believe, share a great bit of visual resemblance with Anna Massey. Yet all these actresses managed to meet with their iconic role in the later stages of their careers. And what then happened to Massey?
You remind me that I'm old and plain. Would you think I don't feel it? But I know that he loves me for myself. I know that.
Interestingly, Anna's not ordinary background made her way in acting even more complicated. Both of her parents were actors. Her brother, Daniel Massey, also a celebrated actor. Her godfather, John Ford, a famous director of the golden age of Hollywood. And her first husband, the dazzling Jeremy Brett.
The bride, arriving with her stepfather, was 20-year-old Anna Massey, actress daughter of Raymond Massey. She was marrying actor Jeremy Brett. She won fame as the reluctant debutante. Now she's the star of a stage wedding.
From the outside, it looks like a clear path, connections, exposure, built-in understanding of the profession. But that kind of environment doesn't just give you opportunities, it sets expectations. You're not entering the industry as a blank slate, you're entering it already framed by comparison. In other words, you are not discovered, you're compared.
You know, changing jobs can be a blessing in disguise. It gets you out of a rut. A girl like you ought to travel, see the world a bit. The Cape, California, Jaffa, where the fruit comes from, that's where I'd like to go if I wasn't tied down here. But you can do as you please. You've got the whole of your life ahead of you.
Anna Massey never had the kind of personality that fights for the spotlight. She didn't try to outshine or dominate. She moved in the opposite direction, inward, controlled, restrained, which made her a strong actress, but not marketable in the usual sense, difficult to position as a star. Perhaps she didn't even bother trying much to become one. She always valued family life, being a mother, a wife, and later a grandmother, and has often turned jobs down if they conflicted with school holidays.
I don't want eternity. I hate big things. Everest and the Empire State Building.
By the way, these roots in a theatrical family unite Massey with another heroine of my videos, your beloved Zoe Wanamaker. A daughter of an accomplished father-director, she also didn't become a solo star, if I may put it this way, a leading actress in a feature, yet somehow looks like she thrives in her amplitude as a character actress. Do you also see some resemblance here? Early in Massey's career, she came close to breaking out in a completely different way. In 1960, she starred in Peeping Tom, directed by Michael Powell.
Look out! Take care. You are being watched.
Today, the film is considered a classic, psychologically complex, unsettling, ahead of its time. Back then, it was a disaster. It was completely misunderstood. Critics attacked it, audiences rejected it, and the backlash was strong enough to damage Powell's career for years. For Anna Massey, it meant something very specific. Her major early film, the one that could have repositioned her as a leading actress, simply didn't function as a launch. It disappeared. And there is a pattern you see in careers like this. The moment that should define you happens under the wrong conditions, and instead of opening doors, it quietly closes them.
Got a place to stay?
Oh, hello, it's you, Bob.
Yeah.
More than a decade later, she appears in a very different context, in Frenzy, one of Alfred Hitchcock's later films. By that point, Hitchcock is already a legend, and the film itself carries a certain weight simply by association. On paper, this is exactly the kind of project that elevates an actor's visibility. And yet, even here, Anna Massey occupies a familiar position. She's precise, controlled, completely convincing, and once again, not the center. The film reinforces her reliability rather than transforming her status. This is the interesting part. She intersects with two major directors, one at the moment of collapse, the other at the height of legacy. And in both cases, the outcome is the same. The projects become part of film history. She becomes part of the structure holding them together. But the spotlight never quite shifts in her direction. After that, her trajectory becomes very specific. She doesn't vanish, she doesn't fail. Instead, she becomes everywhere.
I feel her everywhere. You do too, don't you?
Massey becomes a constant presence across British television and film. Literary adaptations, period dramas, detective stories. She even played a part of one of the Hercule Poirot episodes, The Clocks. She appears again and again in different roles, but with a consistent function. She supports, stabilizes, clarifies. She's often the person in the room who understands more than she says, but she's rarely the one driving the story. This is where the real mechanism of her career becomes visible. The industry absolutely valued what she did. Directors trust actors like Anna Massey. Writers rely on them. Editors are grateful for them because they solve problems. They make scenes work without demanding attention. They fix tonal inconsistencies, anchor emotional bits. In other words, they make everything around them better. But there is a trade-off. If you're the person who makes everyone else look good, you are by definition not the center.
It's very bitter when a man leaves you for nothing. I wouldn't have minded so much if he'd been in love with another woman. I could bear being beaten by someone younger, someone lovely. But I was beaten by a provincial newspaper and a bed-sitting room in Nottingham.
What's interesting is that this wasn't a limitation in Macy's ability. It was a mismatch between her strengths and what the industry rewards. Cinema, especially mainstream cinema, rewards visibility, clarity, presence that reads instantly, even if the viewer is only half paying attention. Anna Massey operated differently. Her performances sit just below the surface. She doesn't announce emotion, she implies it. She doesn't underline a moment, she lets it pass almost unnoticed, which means her work improves with attention. But most viewers don't watch that way.
You're an actor, or supposed to be. Try and remember it. Besides, it's disloyal to the audience.
And that creates a paradox. The better she does her job, the less she's individually recognized for it, because nothing feels performed, nothing calls attention to itself. You simply accept the scene as real and move on.
It's because when it comes to the crunch, she prefers the old myths. She prefers to believe she's going to be discovered, looking her best behind closed doors, just when she thought all was lost, by a man who's battled across continents, abandoning his in tray, solely in order to reclaim her.
Over time, the industry does acknowledge her. She won a BAFTA Best Actress Award for the role of Edith Hope in 1986 TV adaptation of Anita Bruckner's novel Hôtel du Lac, a role that one of her co-stars, Julia Mackenzie, has said could have been written for her. By the way, she too would later become another Miss Marple.
Mummy said, would you like to join us for coffee in the salon?
Oh, thank you.
Massey also received her Olivier Award for Actress of the Year in The Importance of Being Earnest. Awards, critical respect, a long and stable career. But the label that follows her is very specific. Outstanding Supporting Actress. It sounds like recognition, but it also functions as a boundary. It tells you exactly where she belongs in the hierarchy. Important, but not central. Valued, but not marketed. Reliable, but not promoted.
But you won't do the fighting, will you, monsieur? It'll be the young boys again. And if I can save one life by keeping this country weak, then I will be proud of what I've done.
And so, let's think for a moment. What actually defines success for an actor? Visibility? Recognition? Being remembered? Or something else entirely? Because if you look closely, Anna Massey achieved something many actors never do: consistency without compromise. She didn't distort her style to fit trends, didn't overplay to attract attention, didn't simplify her performances to make them more obvious. Yet what if some of the most precise, intelligent performances are simply not built for recognition? There is also a kind of quiet dependency in careers like hers. Audiences might not consciously recognize her name, but they recognize the feeling she creates. A scene with her feels grounded, trustworthy, real. And after enough of those performances, that feeling becomes part of your expectation of quality, even if you can't quite explain why. So when people say, "You've seen her everywhere but never noticed," It's not entirely accurate. You did notice her, you just didn't isolate her. She became part of the fabric of the story, and that's a very different kind of presence.
I'm not other women.
If anything, her career reveals a limitation in how we talk about acting. We focus on transformation, intensity, visibility, the things that are easy to point at. But there is another kind of acting that is harder to describe. Control, restraint, precision, the ability to do exactly what's needed, no more no less, and then disappear inside it. That kind of work doesn't always get remembered, but without it, most of what you're watching wouldn't work at all. So, next time you're watching one of those carefully constructed British dramas, and there is a character who feels unusually real, unusually grounded, someone who seems to understand the story better than everyone else on the screen, pause for a second and look again. You've seen her before, more times than you realize. Her name is Anna Massey.
My sympathies.
I don't seek sympathy, monsieur.